and welcome back to Liberty Librarian. This is your host, Heather Biederman, and I am not seeing myself on the screen. There I am, yeah! Cool. So hopefully it's showing up for you guys. I'm going to make this bigger and getting used to OBS still. And my cat manager is laying right next to the computer, so he's ready to go, and I hope you're ready to go too. So I'm going to do the simple check to make sure that everything is working correctly, and I think it is. So I'm going to go hit onto Spreaker and get that started. Let's see. I think this is all it needs to do. Making things happen. Where is it? It went to the wrong screen. Breathe. I could do like a stress release kind of video. Record episode. That's what I clicked. Here we go. Go live. Is it all happening? Oh, gotta go into the studio. That's why. I'm going to be teaching all of the other people on Freedom Revolution Network how to do this as well, and if I don't know how to do it, they aren't going to know how to do it. So we'll give it just another minute and then we will restart. Setting it up. Here we go. Live. There we go. Good enough for now, and I will redo. Copy. Oh. This is so crappy, isn't it? Here we go. Okay, I think I got everything going. I got it on Spreaker, I got it on YouTube, so it should be working. And if nothing else, at least one of them should work, right, guys? Oh, man. So much stress with getting this all going, but I think it's all working out. I'm going to peek really quickly. It says stream setup. It's all good. It looks like it's good. No data. Say something. It looks like it's working. I'm going to peek at it. It says scheduled. Is it doing it now? Let's try. It's being used by another application. So, I'm sorry. Bear with me. I just want to see it. Until I know it's actually working, it makes me crazy in my brain a little bit. So, I've adjusted some of the settings on OBS to see if it works better and is less pixelated, but I'm not entirely sure it's going to work or not. But we will see, right? And I think it's going to be just fine. So, while we get that, I'm going to just look at this one really quick, and then we will actually start the show. It says live now. Is it working? If I click it, it's like black. Is there a camera? Why is it not doing anything? Really quick, and then we will actually start. Okay, I see it's working. Okay, now we're going to start for real. Pretend like all of that didn't happen. I might see if I can delete it later, but okay. Well, welcome to Liberty Librarian. This is your host, Heather Biederman. I am super excited to have you here on the show. I see on we're doing a show through Freedom Revolution Network, and I have the chat box there, and I also am like looking at periodically other chat boxes, so like on Facebook and the Liberty Librarian show channel, and we have like so much going on. It's so brand new. We're trying YouTube, we're trying everything, and I'm hoping that we can like get this to really take off, because I'm having a lot of fun getting everything set up, but I'm so new at all of this, so I really, it says it's video unavailable. Why? But what does that mean? I see. It should be. It's turned on Spreaker. It's on YouTube. I see the YouTube channels going live. I don't know why it's not working. My webmaster Melissa is sending me notes, so we're trying so hard to get it to work. Let me tell you, while this is going, we'll mess with that later, Melissa, and at least we can download it for now and get the audio. So I'm not going to worry about it too hard right now. I can't figure out where the settings would be that it's not allowing sharing. Is it only on the Freedom Revolution Network, or is it on Spreaker? Playback on other websites has been disabled by video owner. So is it on OBS or is it on YouTube? That's the question. So I'm going to look at the settings really quick. So where would that be? Audio, video, currently active. I don't see anything for sharing. It must be on YouTube. Output. So I adjusted on OBS the video bitrate, so hopefully the YouTube video is good, but the player video, why would it be one and not the other? I don't understand. So I'm looking at the YouTube right now. Manage. It says it's set to public, so I mean I can't see why the YouTube side should be like public, and the Freedom Revolution preferences, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry guys, it's just so much stuff to try to figure out. I don't see anything about sharing on Spreaker's site, and then so if it's not that, it's OBS general. Okay, do you think it's something on Spreaker in like the main? I mean, I don't know where it would be. I'm looking. Enable tray projectors. Yeah, I don't get it. This is so weird. I'm gonna just keep going with the show. On with the show, Heather, right? So, sorry, Melissa. I can't figure it out from just looking at it right now, but, you know, you're doing a live show. It's kind of pain in the butt to try to figure out where it all goes. I'm gonna see one last thing. Audio's working. Yeah, I can't figure it out. We'll mess with it. We're going to get better every time. The good thing is that now, from the very beginning, I figured out how to do it on Spreaker just so it starts up live. And I've also figured out how to start up on YouTube and OBS all at the same time. The next trick will be to do Restreamio and figure out how it can go to Facebook Live automatically, which is my goal, because I like Facebook and a lot of the people I work with are on Facebook. So, and thank you. On YouTube, I've noticed that there have been some new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. I can't believe anyone wants to watch me on this. It's amazing. Some of the cool things that are going on. Okay. This, last Friday was Black Friday, the big shopping day. And today is Cyber Monday. Woo! Since we're on the internet, it's kind of cool, Cyber Monday. What that means is there's lots of stuff on sale, there's deals, and you do shopping usually for other people. However, I've decided to get myself a Christmas present, and that present would be to get some better lighting and like canvas backdrops, so you don't have to see all the crap behind me. What else comes with it? Some like reflectors, so I'll get more beautiful light and I'll be all glamorous and everything. Oh, Heather, you're lovely. Instead of looking like I'm getting a photo at the DMV, so that'll be nice, right? And we're going to turn the basement office into a studio. So I'm going to try to work on soundproofing it and making it a nice place to work on everything. So I'm excited. And that should be coming sometime this week. So I will be cleaning out that room and trying to make it set up. So hopefully in the next show next week, knock on wood, we will have it set up for the Liberty Librarian. And then you won't have to deal with all this crap at the beginning of the show where I'm trying to deal with technical issues. And if you listen to the podcast version of this, I tried to edit it out. Last week's was kind of a minor fiasco in the beginning, but it's a really great interview with Kara Schultz, and Kara is awesome, and we talked about government collecting of data and privacy and some of the things that she's experienced, and I hope you get a chance to listen to it. I posted that on Facebook today. It's on the TalkShoe site if you want to just download that and get the RSS feed. And like always, these are all available on Freedom Revolution Network, and go check them out. There's a lot of brand new shows coming up. It's a great new channel. You guys will love it. You like me, you'll love them. And we're really like getting kind of used to this new format, and a lot of us are going to try to do more YouTube. So it's going to be different than the last channel I was at, where it was all Blog Talk Radio, streaming, and you get call in. I can already tell that the technology is going to be so much better once we get a kind of a grasp on it. And I'm going to try to help teach some of the other new hosts how to use it. OBS is a great way to go for this. The added dimension of having video on anything, it adds a lot more prep work. I have pictures, and like I could do video and music, and I think it'll be really cool. I think it's going to be really cool to have all of this new kind of media option, and you can see me face to face, and we can talk to each other every week. I think it's going to be really good. So fingers crossed, it could be really great. We will see. So I've been working on getting the studio set up in my mind. I also got myself another toy. It's like a you know what a gimbal is? It kind of keeps it from getting all wobbly when you're shooting. So I'm gonna have that. So if I want to shoot video, I could do that, or I could do like selfies and like walk around and talk. And I might do some more kind of vlogging on that. So I might do multiple videos during the week. That's the goal. Right now it's just been so hectic with the holiday and everything that it's not been working out. But my plan is to make this bigger and better and do a little bit more of everything. Now, what else is going on? This week it was the end of NaNoWriMo, the National Novel Writing Month, and my novel is close but no cigar, not quite there. But I have some really great ideas for my cosmic horror show that's going to be just awesome. Not a show, a book, a novel. So I have some ideas of a location I want to visit that will make the writing a little more real, and then I'm going to take some more notes and I'm going to try to finish it. I think it's going to be really cool. So that's what's been going on this week. Have you, in the news, I mean, like you saw what happened in London, and what they call a terrorist attack, where there was from what I understand, there was a convention in London where it's former felons and people involved in rehabilitation of criminals had a conference, and there was a gentleman that attacked a woman and a man, and he had a knife and a fake bomb strapped on. So he had killed 2 people, but what was of interest to people were that all these people in the area jumped up and tried to help stop him. And I thought that was very interesting to see. One guy was, I think, a cook, a chef, and he pulled a narwhal horn. And I think you call it a horn. It's like a spike. It's like this huge unicorn horn that goes on top of a narwhal. A narwhal is like a kind of like a I'd say a whale, from what I understand. I mean, how many of you Googled narwhal after you saw the video clips of him running out and fighting with some other men? One guy grabbed a fire extinguisher and they're like trying to hit him. And the guy with the narwhal kind of tried to pin him down and he got stabbed in the hand. And I mean, one of the guys was had a day off from jail, and so I think he had raped and murdered someone. So the controversy on that is people are going, oh, he's a hero. But the family of the people whose, I think, daughter was raped and killed were like, no, he's not a hero. But I think what's interesting is that people can rehabilitate, and sometimes they get a little bit better and they try. And I think if people keep trying, I think that's very admirable. Now, what's interesting to me, also besides the narwhal thing, because I kind of want a narwhal horn, even though I'm pretty sure they must be illegal, because isn't that like, it's not ivory, because ivory is illegal. The confusing part to me is that I read about the narwhal horns, and they said that it was actually not like an antler, or something that you use for defensive, that it actually is part of their, I don't know if it was a smell organ or a taste organ, or they're kind of one and the same, that they use them to sense where food is or where mating females are, because it's only the males that have them, if I understand. And I might be totally wrong, because the things I read, you read the, things on Facebook and you go, that might be right, that sounds right, and then you tell someone, they're like, you're a dumb shit. It's probably right. But I looked a little bit into it, and I'm at work during the day, so I didn't get a lot of chance to do that, but I thought it was pretty interesting. So my coworker is a Polish librarian from Poland, and she thought that was really cool because the guy with the narwhal horn was actually a Polish chef. And we talked about how all these people in Poland are calling him a hero and that he defended, and look at how cool it is, because people, especially in London, are anti my brain stopped. Foreign people coming over and moving there. It's a lot of pushback on it there. So there was like, see, people who are visitors can help save the day. We're good guys too. And I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. And what was even more interesting is that after they interviewed him, he kind of disappeared. And so what my coworker and I were talking about is what's the deal with that? Is he shy, or is he an illegal working? Because they're not as picky over there about a lot of that. Or is he just like a criminal? I mean, what's the deal with that dude? So, I mean, because a lot of people over here, you do something like that, you eat up the media attention, because that's how Americans are. But maybe he just doesn't want it, and that's okay. And I'm the show that has privacy rights, and I think that's cool. So tip my hat to you, sir, for helping stop a bad guy. The thing that we were wondering is, because he wore a fake bomb, what if it had been a real bomb and people had helped? Would it make any difference? Would it make it even more sad? The police there don't want people to be vigilante and help, but I mean, often there's not a lot of time when somebody's especially stabbing people. If you get a big group, you can take them down. So I feel like saying no to that at all times, or just let the police take care of it, it might be a while. And so that's why there's all the talk about concealed carry in our country. Not as much of an option in other countries, but I think that sometimes you just got to defend your space. And I took a workshop that was led by an FBI officer who, an agent, and he had said that the best things to do are there's run, run, fight, hide. And your best bet if someone is like attacking or shooting at people is to get the heck out of there. And I believe that. I've been at different organizations where they're like, oh, we'll go to the safe room. Well, let me tell you, I'm going to say this in my heart. The reason I disagree with that is because a lot of times the person who's shooting at you is someone who knows the place. Like they're a student there, they work there, they know where people go when poop hits the fan. So I think that your first option is always to get out, especially if there's a safe way for you to go. Pick that first. And second, you can fight together. Like the guy's coming and there's 10 of you. You can like hit him with stuff. You can fight back. It's easier if it's something like a knife. Well, I don't know if it's easier because knives are pretty like quick. You're probably going to get hurt. Guns, if you got a rush of people, it's very unlikely that they're going to get everyone. And if you can get them down, then that's what you do. And then hiding. I think hiding was second. Run, hide, fight. Fight was the last option. So hiding, if you can find a good place where they can't get you, then do that. Just do it. But, so anyway, when they have police, yes, of course, police want to help you and they want to be there first, but sometimes that's not the option. They always want to. If there's someone with a gun, they want to take care of it. That's what they're trained for. But I'm not going to wait around. If I know somebody's going to be shooting up the place I'm at, I'm going to try to get out or hide because I'm pretty resourceful, and I'd hope that we could save people from terrible things. So while I think that you have these terrible things that have happened in London, it's interesting to see how people pull together and try to help out. So I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them for that. So, you've been thinking about getting a narwhal horn too? Yep. Probably everybody is. I mean, people are talking about online, like, how do you carry one of those around? Like, if you wanted to, like, could you make a cane out of it? I just think it's in the moment. It's pretty interesting to me. But I do love that. And I do love that people came together to help each other out. That is pretty amazing. Gonna peek really quick and see if there's any more messages. I don't understand. Oh well. Audio's working on the player, but video not working. Okay. Well, this is what we do. We'll be fine. So I'm going to turn off some of these windows before I get started. So everything cool? You liking this new format? I'm just terrified by it all. I really want everything to work out for you, and it's like until I look at it later, I might be crying. So I love that you're here with me, and I want to try to make this better. So I have some stories for intellectual freedom news today. So I'm going to read a couple of those, and then what we're going to do is I went down this I have too many ums today. I went down the road of looking at 80s artists that died of AIDS. I had someone posted about it today on my Facebook, and I went down this path of learning about one specific artist, Robert Mapplethorpe, and Mapplethorpe. I'm gonna look, but anyway, he was a great, very in love with himself kind of artist. He, at any cost, he would court fame. He was his own favorite muse. He loved to take pictures of himself. He was a photographer. He lived with Patti Smith, if you heard her, the rock musician. Yeah, they had amazing photos back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, and he died of AIDS. So I went down the rabbit hole, and I will take you with me. There's some interesting stuff out there. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the articles that I will, let's see if I can bring one up. I'm going to try this on the fly because I didn't remember to do it until just now. Let's see. So the first one I'm going to do is from Wired magazine. It's about DuckDuckGo. Actually, I'm just going to bring up DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Have you guys heard of that? DuckDuckGo is another browser option and a search engine that doesn't track you. And I'm all for that. You know I'm all for that. Let's see if I can do a screenshot. I will try right now, kids. Browser? Let's try. We're going to do it right on the fly. So if I go into here, I wonder if I could do like a live screen. I don't know how to do that yet. I'm going to have to figure this out. Okay. I'm going to bring this down. Not going to show. There's DuckDuckGo. You guys see it? Okay. So DuckDuckGo is a, your data shouldn't be for sale, it says on it. I kind of like that. And what they say about it is it's increasingly common for data that passes between your browser and a website server to be encrypted with HTTPS. So the S on the HTTP is secure, right? It's supposed to be impossible for outside snoops to read. But you don't get that protection if the URL drops that crucial S after the first, the main page. So while some mechanisms will direct you to go to an encrypted version of the site, you only do so after exposing that initial request. So then they can snoop you. The makers of privacy-focused search engines, DuckDuckGo, think there's a better way to make sure your data is safe. So today, meaning November 19th, so a couple weeks ago, they're releasing a feature called Smarter Encryption that combines its existing private search capabilities and tracker blocking service with a new tool to upgrading encryption for more of the sites you visit. It's available on DuckDuckGo's mobile browser for Android and iOS as well, although the company's desktop browser, extension for Firefox and Chrome, is also there. So what DuckDuckGo is also doing is opening the source code behind the feature so other sites and platforms can adopt it as well. And the first to try it is going to be Pinterest, which is really cool. A lot of us use Pinterest to keep track of ideas. I know I have a lot of crafting friends and costuming friends, and we put a lot of our ideas up online so we can figure it out. Cat is trying to squeeze in. What is it about cats that make them want to sit right on the keyboard in front of the webcam? I think they're the most interesting things, and they probably are. I'd probably get 1 million viewers if it was all about Rory. So anyway, I think that this is what they said, the quote, "I think people tend to think it's less of a problem because a lot of sites automatically redirect you to the encrypted version now. Though a lot of sites still don't," says Gabriel Weinberg, DuckDuckGo's founder and CEO. "We wanted to give people a more comprehensive privacy solution no matter where the internet takes you." So this isn't a new problem, this HTTP upgrading problem. The Electronic Frontier Foundation HTTPS Everywhere browser extension and Chromium's HSTS preload list provides similar functionality. This is enabled by default across Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Opera, Edge, and Internet Explorer. These offerings all function basically the same way, working off a list of sites that offer HTTPS versions to upgrade connections before they're established. But DuckDuckGo's tool made one major difference. Rather than populating a list of upgradable sites manually, Smarter Encryption fills it automatically using the same web crawling smarts into DuckDuckGo's private search service. No one needs to add and remove entries from a list on their own. Whenever the crawler sees that a site supports HTTPS, it records that as a default for all visitors using smarter encryption going forward, regardless of what URL they type or link they click. So the automatic element in this is strikingly comprehensive. I'm going to switch back to me. Here I am. Hi. So, compared to other tools which have fewer than 150,000 sites on their preload list, Smarter Encryption already works on 12 million sites, making it more likely that you'll reach for the encrypted version of a given site from the start. So you want to use it. DuckDuckGo is a great option. So this auto-populating strategy wasn't easy to build as the founder first expected, because there was patchwork of encryption elements, implementations on the web. So some sites are only set up to encrypt some of their pages, and in the beginning that's all they had. This means if Smarter Encryption tries to upgrade your connection to that domain, some functionality in pages may break. It took a number of workarounds, including developing a visual test to automatically assess whether the page looked different after adding encryption, or to upgrading to make it all work without any browsing disruptions. So they made it possible. It's really cool. They launched a beta of the tool in 2018 to test for issues, and now it's finally ready for prime time. So if you're looking for a browser that gives you more security, isn't collecting your data and mining the poop out of you, think about doing DuckDuckGo. Hold on. I'm gonna get the criminal. Stop attacking Zoe. He really wants to be on TV, so I'm gonna just do it. Here, this is Rory. He's a cat. He's a very naughty cat. He's trying everything in the world to be on the show. In the past, he's like tried to climb on the keyboard. He tries to get on. Yeah, you're crazy. And he's also thrown up right off camera. So he's a huge distraction, and he's very naughty. But I love him very much. He's a naughty boy. But there you go. There you go. You're free. Leave your sister alone. And Zoe is a good cat who hardly ever gets on. She was on the show last time. She got up on the screen behind me, I saw. So there you go. I have two cats. Anyway, so to finish up DuckDuckGo, I'm always looking for good options for you guys, so that way you don't have to have your data mined, and that you feel like some more privacy. And I often tell people using something like DuckDuckGo is great. There's another one that I use. What's it called? I'm going to look at the other page real quick because I remember. The one I do, let's see, potato. Hey, it's called startpage.com. I like that one too. But DuckDuckGo I think is a little bit better now. God, they're still fighting. Boy, it's horrible. So anyway, startpage.com is really good, but I have that as my main right now, but I really like DuckDuckGo better. And I have to use Google because YouTube's on Google. It's like everything is on Google. Everyone that I work with, they got a Google page, they got a Google Gmail account, it's everywhere. But for regular searching, think about it. Think about having something like DuckDuckGo. It's a more secure option. So definitely give it a try, and I think you will be happy. Okay, another one. This is a real brief thing. I just thought it was interesting today. There's something called the Library Freedom Project, which I've mentioned here before. And because I talked about DuckDuckGo, a lot of the things that I cover here is intellectual freedom, which includes censorship, privacy, banned books. And I'm going to separate these guys. They're fighting like mad. Please stop it. Go on. Okay. Yes. Life with cats. Ugh. They're going upstairs. They're going to fight and kill each other up there, but it'll be quieter for us, so maybe. If bloodshed, you guys, stop it. Put one in the room. Hey, turkey. You're in so much trouble. Here we go. We leave each other alone now. Okay. Time out for kitties. One of them is getting in solitary confinement. I'm so sorry you had to hear that. It's the way it is when it's live, baby. Everybody's gonna have something crazy happen. So there you go. Anyway, so Library Freedom Project. Okay, so one of the things that they do is they work in libraries to teach people how to make good choices for making sure your data is safe, making sure that you're not opening yourself up to hackers. So some of the things I talk about to people is, have you considered a VPN, a virtual private network? So there are free ones, and if you're interested, send me a note on the Liberty Librarian Facebook page, and I will be happy to give you a recommendation. The one that I use right now is called Windscribe, I think. Let me look at it again. Windscribe. And I like it. It's a paid one. They have a free version. I'm not getting any money for this, but I do think if you're going to be looking at anything on the internet, pages get hacked all the time. And why open yourself up to that? Facebook is easy to hack. A lot of times I get people that get hacked, and they when they get hacked on Facebook, it'll send an instant message and it'll say, click this video, it's super funny, and you're like, you never sent me anything before. That should be your little alarm if it's outside the norm. Now the genius ones are when it's something like, you know, a person who does it all the time, and you're like, oh, what is it this time? And they can get you. But the trick is, a lot of times you run antivirus. You have to have a good antivirus on your computer. It's not as important as it used to be because, you know, but a lot of things are built into the system. But I always do that. I put up pop-up blockers, which everyone hates because that's how you make money on the internet, is using pop-ups and data mining and whatnot. So I avoid it. But I recommend that to people because if you go to websites, often that's where you're going to get screwed. So do that and it will help you. What else is there? You know, VPNs. Make sure you use tools that don't data mine you. So anyway, this Library Freedom Project, this helps patrons protect themselves online. And it's really pretty simple. They talk about protecting your data from Google and Facebook. So I hope that if you work in libraries or you work with people who aren't sure about how to lock down their data, that you can either help work with them to figure it out or Google it. Intellectual freedom is super important, and making sure that you can look at the information you want on the internet, that you can share ideas, and that there are ways to protect yourself. And so this program that they're starting now is for public librarians in general, but I'm trying to do this stuff at a community college with people that are students in their first 2 years. They'll have a 2-year program, and try to make it so they are prepared and they know that they are giving up their privacy so easily. So this program has more than 40 librarians across the country that they're trained. So I'm going to look into it. I'm pretty sure it's mostly public libraries, but it was the founder was Allison Macrina, and she spoke this week at Yale Law School. The project began in 2013 after leaks by CIA contractor Edward Snowden revealed extensive surveillance programs. So people are interested. That's why you're probably listening. How do I protect myself from surveillance and strengthen my privacy? So these are things that I'm going to try to find out more about and share with you. And so if you're interested in that, let me know. Or if there's certain aspects, that would be really cool for me to go into more. I really want to make sure we can kind of stop some of this and make it so my friends, that you guys don't have to be taken advantage of. So let's go with that. Okay, here's another one. Pepperdine University censors student art. Now, like some of the other things I'm going to talk about today are art censorship, so I'm really interested in that. Where is the browser? I'm going to show you art. Let's see if I can find this article for you guys. Yes, part of it is I just feel like there's so much to do every week. Let's see if I can look up something easy for you guys so you can see, just so you can see what the article looks like. Let's see if I can get it from this quick search. NCAC, isn't that what I typed? NCAC. It would help if I typed what I wrote. There we go. Okay, here it comes. I got it now. You're like, Heather, you're the best. Thank you for sharing all this information. Yeah, thanks guys, no problem. Okay, we're gonna switch to that. Art? Is it coming? There it comes. There we go. Oh, I hate that. It pops up with weird crap. How about now? Let's try it now. I hate it when things are like that happen, where like the pop-up shows and it didn't show before. Okay, how about, no, that's okay. Anyway, I will just share it with you. That's such a bummer. I hate it when it's like that. Boo! I gotta figure out the technology better. So yeah, share it with you this way. Low tech. Update. Victory. Pepperdine University censors student art. Okay, what happened here was that the administrators at Pepperdine University had allowed Alessandra Guth's artwork to remain on the main campus and open to the public for the rest of the semester. The original post, and this is on the 25th of November, so not that long ago, last week. And so the administrators of Pepperdine University in Malibu, California, they had quarantined the artworks of Alessandra Guth, a senior and art major, from a forthcoming exhibition because they depict nude bodies. Art and naked? How does that happen? It does. The NCAC, which is the organization that had this article. Oh man, this cut off a lot. Has written to Pepperdine's president, Jim Gash, to urge the university to refrain from censoring their student and uphold their commitment to academic and artistic freedom. She had produced a series, Guth had 7 photographic works that reference the 7 deadly sins. The works are intended to encourage discussion around the themes of the human body, religion, and sexuality. Rather than displaying the works with other students' works, they have decided to sequester her art because it's racy and naked. So they had moved it to another space, and they had actually talked about making it so they were going to ban it in a way. I think they were going to make it just so hard to use that it wasn't going to work. So they were going to have a mobile gallery and the opening reception on November 21st, after which they wanted to have her peers' works will remain on view. So all the other artists from this campus were available to have their works viewed, but not her, because naked. So they depict simple nudes. They're neither obscene nor pornographic and belong to an artistic tradition of depicting nudes as primary subjects for artists throughout history. So, artistic freedom at universities is the subject of the 1990 statement adopted at the Wolf Trap Conference on Academic Freedoms and Artistic Expression. The statement has been endorsed by several organizations and academic institutions and holds that artistic freedom for students and faculty integral to academic freedom on campus. So, what happened was the full display along with the works of her peers are now available to be accessed. So this one is actually pretty tame, and I'm looking at some of the nudity in it, and it's like not really anything like that you haven't seen. So I'm wondering, with Pepperdine, she was a senior and an art major, and there's nude bodies. Part of me wants to just look it up and see like how bad is it, because I'm going to talk about some art that's a little bit more agreeably Mapplethorpe. Like, do you know? Like, there's nudity, there's some penile implant kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about? So, like, just a naked person, you're like, that's just a naked person. But there's stuff that your level of embarrassment will go up higher and higher for different artists. So hers, very tame, and in the realm of what I call normal art. So maybe because she's a college student. But, you know, when you're over the age of 18, you're an adult. So I don't quite understand what the problem is. So anyway, that's cool. I like seeing happy endings to things, and I just wanted to share that because I didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. And another artist banning and censorship kind of thing that I want to talk about before we get into my main discussion of the night is there's a prominent Chinese American artist is the latest to fall afoul of China's censors. And this was in the New York Times. Okay. So the artist is Hung Liu. She's an artist, and this is one of her works. It's historical photographs is her thing that she does. So I'll show. There's one of her paintings with her standing in front of it. Beautiful. So they canceled, a prominent art center in Beijing has canceled Chinese Americans artists exhibition of works with strong social and historical themes. Planned for December after the local authorities declined to issue the necessary import permits. So this is such a governmental thing that they do when they don't want you there, is you can't get a permit. They make up a law that you've broken. They find a reason to make it so you can't come. So because of this permit, they had to cancel it. And what it really is about is because there's a growing clampdown on civil society across the country and rising tensions between China and the United States. Of course. That's more of what it is. So China's censorship review process is notoriously opaque, and there's no official reason for withholding the permits. Because they don't have to. In the letter, the lenders of the works announcing the cancellation, the director of the UCCA Center for Contemporary Art in Beijing said that after months of back and forth with the local cultural authorities, the gallery was suddenly informed this month that the approvals would not be coming. So even though this is something that people want to see, she's famous, people were excited about it, she just didn't get these permits because China didn't want her there. And that's an easy way around it for them, but it is censorship, and there are lots of ways of doing that. Oh yeah, you got the jail guy. So on the show, my husband's home, He took out the cat from the bedroom because he was attacking his sister during the show, and it was a screaming fight. So you keep an eye on that one. He's on lockdown. So anyway, so she was very known. She moved to the United States in 1984. She's originally from the Chinese city. Honglu is from the Chinese city of Changchun. In 1948 was when she was born. And this the show was supposed to be on December 6th. So it was like in a week, and it's not happening. So she's from China, and is known for fusing her early artistic training in socialist realism with Western influences, and to create paintings based on historical photographs. And it can be overtly political. She has a pencil sketch series called Where's Mao? But the 30-plus paintings that had been proposed for the show were focused more on questions of culture, gender, history, and memory. So not very super controversial things. So the fact that they censored her was more shocking because of that. So she had, the authorities had initially raised concerns about 9 works, including a 1993 self-portrait based on a photograph of the artist as a young rifle-toting woman at the end of a cultural revolution, the decade-long period of political tumult that rocked China under Mao Zedong, and the 1988 painting Abacus. I can't even talk. 7 up, 8 down in Chinese, a common phrase that's often used to describe the state of feeling agitated. So really interesting. And that 7 up, 8 down, this is what it is. It's an abacus, and it's really subtle. Isn't that weird? Anyway, I thought it was quite interesting. So she had said that there were some, another painting that they were worried about was of 12 schoolgirls in uniforms wearing gas masks, which was originally based on a historical photograph of an air raid drill during World War II. So the message is anti-war, so I thought it was okay. But when I talked with my Chinese friends, artist friends, about it, they said one word: Hong Kong. So Hong Kong's on everybody's minds right now, and so they're very, anything that even is deemed anti-government now, even if it's art and very almost traditional art, is being banned there. So it's keeping artists out, and famous artists. So I think it's quite terrible and terrifying to see how they can kill a show because they had a few that were sort of questionable. And you know, they could have had something where they said, we don't want these, we will give you a permit if you don't bring them. But this wasn't even a discussion. They just said, no, you're not coming. So her work looks at the working class, and I thought it's really quite beautiful. Here's a picture of the artist in 1972, and she was sent, Ms. Liu was sent to do manual labor in the countryside for 4 years during the Cultural Revolution. So this is what she looks like. Boop, 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 boop. She's just lovely. I love it. It's amazing. And I think she'd be a really interesting person to have come and show her works. But China has really had a turn towards hard-nosed authoritarianism. And it just doesn't seem like, when you stop the artists from being able to show their work, and you stop the writers and the creatives and the musicians and the dancers, and you stop them first, and then you stop the everyday man from even questioning anything, what's left? All your freedoms are gone. It's a slippery slope, and that whole country is up in fire right now. So they had said that Chinese contemporary art over the past 25 years has reflected an opening up of speech in China and meaningful dialogue with the world, said Ms. Liu. The openness is now beginning to feel like a dream. So all of this progress that has been made just lately is disappearing, and I'm really sad about that. And that's, I don't always talk about art. You know, I love art, and it's an amazing world opening. It brings ideas and feelings in an instant, and things that you don't talk about, you could show. You can say so much more in a photograph, in a painting, in film. So censoring it is senseless, and it also makes it impossible to work together. So this is one of the things I look at where, yeah, we are in this 1984 right now, and it's terrifying. So this leads up to my big thing that I wanted to talk about today. Robert Mapplethorpe. It looks like apple, maple, maple, Mapplethorpe. So, who is he? I'm going to show you a picture. Boop. Here's the artist. I think it's a pretty great picture. I'm going to move that. Oops. I'm moving it. There. Much better. This is the artist, Robert Mapplethorpe, in front of a self-portrait, obviously, of him. And let's see, what year was that? Is that 83? I'm going to look quick. I have all the... this is a self-portrait at ICA in London. Photographed by Richard Young, Rex Features, in 1983. And he made this... him wearing like a war coat with a machine gun, and in the background you see something he had designed was a upside down pentagram. So it's the since it's upside down, you know, if it's a pointy side up, it's good magic. If it's pointy side down, it's devil magic. Blah blah blah. But what his story was that he was brought up as Catholic. And he revolted against it because as a gay, a little bit bisexual man, he felt like he was constantly butting heads with everyone. And he was a brilliant artist and a great photographer, and he could get so much beautiful emotion from photographs that super famous very, very quickly. He lived with Patti Smith, the great rocker, and there's a documentary out. God, what is that called? Is it Robert and Patty? I can't remember what it's called. Let's see. I'm gonna look it up. That's the beauty of the internet. Robert Mapplethorpe documentary. What was it called? There's a couple things. There's like Mapplethorpe that had the Doctor Who guy on it, and then there was Dream of Life. I think that's the one I was thinking of. There's so many really interesting documentaries about them because Still Moving, it's filmed by a photographer, so it shows their lives. And they kind of had a love story. They were the love of each other's lives, even though he was a gay man, and they lived together. And yet you see that he was so driven and into the fame of building his career, and he did it. He was doing it. He was very well known and beautiful, and people just adored him. I mean, this is him. He's very young, smoking a cigarette, and he was known for some of the most censored art ever. And I'm going to talk about that too. He shocked America. His pictures, he had sexual pictures. He'd have men in he'd dress in drag. He would wear S&M and BDSM, and it was very erotic. And he was a sexual person. He always said that the things he wanted were sex, drugs, and power, and he would do anything to get it, and he did very well with it. But he was someone in the 80s that was
kind of terrifying to the mainstream. And he would get fantastic pictures of celebrities in ways that are still talked about to this day. But there are ones like, let me switch back. Like, I'm looking at a couple of art. One that I didn't post here. I'll go back. It's so pretty. Like this one. It's famous. Leather crotch. 1980. So, this is one that people felt uncomfortable about. Today, it could be a cover of a rock album. You know, I mean, like, you see worse. You see so many things that this is nothing now. But back then, it was controversial. And he had so much success, but also New York at the time, it was so much sex and drugs and rock and roll, and people didn't want to see the sex pictures because they couldn't show it at legitimate studios. And studios were, 60s, 70s, 80s, were showing some pretty crazy stuff. But some of the things that he showed were on the edge of even that being acceptable. So they had reenactment of sex acts, theatrically lit, beautiful. He had flowers and penises. He wanted things to be very visual and show the power of, the placement of everything. I mean, you can study him, and it's just beautiful. The nudity, and that's why I was thinking about that student that was banned earlier. Is her art was pretty tame compared to Mapplethorpe. I mean, really, you look at that and you go, he was successful starting in February 1977, and he had 2 shows of his work in New York. One at the commercial Holly Solomon Gallery, and the other at a nonprofit art space called The Kitchen. So he had a self-portrait showing the artist's hand wearing a dress shirt and a Cartier watch, the other hand wearing a black leather glove and the studded metal bracelet, both writing the word pictures, driving home the notion that respectability and perversion are often 2 sides of the same coin. So he did a lot of storytelling in his work, and people loved him for it. But there was a lot of culture wars going on too. Here, I'm going to switch back to. Let's look at another picture. So there were a lot of demonstrations against the decisions to censor some of Mapplethorpe's work. And in Cincinnati, this was a big deal. There was the Mies Anti-Pornography Commission had been established in 1985, and conservative politicians, notably Jesse Helms and Alphonse D'Amato, were railing against various forms of arts funding. They were very incensed over the National Endowment for the Arts support for works such as Andreas Serrano's Piss Christ, that they called for the elimination of the NEA and sponsorship of art they deemed morally reprehensible, which is really hard to prove what is morals. But, so they didn't want money to go to anything that they thought was questionable. So, Robert Mapplethorpe, The Perfect Moment, had 125 photographs, and this was a collection that went on tour across the United States to 7 cities. Philadelphia, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Hartford, Berkeley, Cincinnati, and Boston. Both retrospectives presented selections from the X portfolio. So these were in 1988, just before the artist's death from AIDS, which we'll talk about in a minute. So they folded under pressure. The Corcoran's director canceled the Mapplethorpe exhibition 3 weeks before it was scheduled to open, sparking a cinematic protest rally outside the institution, where 10 of Mapplethorpe's photographs were projected onto the exterior wall of the building. So I just think that's a beautiful thing. Like, you can't see it inside, but we're going to put it on the outside of the building so everyone can see it. And so the most striking among these were the tattered American flag and a self-portrait of the recently deceased artist gazing quizzically over the crowd. A bold political move. What does this say? The Washington Project for the Arts director Jock Reynolds hung the show across town, attracting nearly 50,000 visitors. I gotta figure out where the commas go. So, 2 interim venues later, the perfect monument hit a different political wall at the Contemporary Arts Center in Cincinnati. And this is the one I had heard about, where several national anti-pornography organizations were headquartered, and a local law enforcement was known for vigorous prosecution of obscenity since the 1970s. Taking notice of the events in Washington, a local organization called Citizens for Community Values launched a letter-writing campaign to block the exhibition. So in the weeks before its opening in 1990, April 7th, protests were staged on both sides. So people for and against, for censoring it and against censoring it. So it was like a 3-ring circus. And then the media started making it get out of hand. So talking about obscenity law, First Amendment, the nature of art, homosexuality, the AIDS crisis, and sex acts. Most viewers never dreamed existed, so people had their eyes open. Just the controversy brought so much attention to this art, and I think that's kind of amazing. So sometimes it's a good deal for the artist, but, at that point, he had already died. So he probably was looking from wherever he is in the afterlife, somewhere or nowhere, and laughing about it, because that would have been just the cherry on top. So they didn't like the things that are the questionable things were the pictures of homoerotic acts, and they said there's an illegal use of a minor in nudity-oriented material. So that I haven't seen. I don't even know if it's anywhere. I'm like, how you get afraid in this world where if you even look at stuff, like, are they going to know? They trace it back to me. I mean, like, it's not like if you look at something, does it make you a bad person? Or does it make you aware? To me, it's art. And you can like it, you cannot. You can get something from it, or you don't. But I don't really want to tell someone what they can and can't look at. So, that's my thought. So, in a twisted what if, the CCV had ill-advisedly generated a mass mailing containing examples of the so-called pornographic works. So they disseminated it. Among them, the artist's self-portrait with bullwhip in his anus, a man urinating in another man's mouth, and several pictures not even by Mapplethorpe. So it's like, guys, if you're going to send some porn, make sure that it's actually about the person you're trying to ban. But, So, as WCPO TV reporter Stephen Hill pointed out, if the jury were to declare the works obscene, the CCV could have faced similar charges for distributing obscene material through the mail. In a way, they would have been worse. Another mischievous journalist noted that the very same pictures and questions were freely available for viewing in town at the public library and in numerous bookstores, and those institutions were not being prosecuted. So, there's always the jury, selected because members had not seen the exhibition and never visited an art gallery or museum, was asked to decide whether the photographs were obscene or art based on a consideration of, 5 pictures alone. How do you tell what's obscene? This is stuff that, the Supreme Court can't even figure out, much less people who've never even looked at art. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm going to switch pictures for you. So it's interesting. This is the gallery. And it looked like it got trashed a little bit. I was looking around at some of the signs were falling off, like people had rioted or something in there. And then the police were there. What the heck? I can't get this to work. Anyway, you got the idea. So this was the police officers and CAC at the Rare Books and Archives Library in the University of Cincinnati is where they had this collection of the photographs from it. So, media specialist And former songwriter for the children's television program Captain Kangaroo who was Judith Reisman, argued that the photographs were not art because no faces and thus no emotions were visible. In an article published the previous year, she had accused Mapplethorpe of being a Nazi and a child molester. So, obviously a great person who was an expert witness who was testifying just because she's media grab on. Another person, Janet Carden, the exhibition's original curator, discussed the artistic properties of the photographs strictly in terms of light, form, and composition, evading any mention of their sexual content. Ohio obscenity law states that a work can only be considered obscene if, taken as a whole, it lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. An apple pie missing one of its ingredients, flour, butter, apples, is not an apple pie. So because she talked about how it had artistic properties, it couldn't be porn. You know. So they had less than 2 hours of deliberation. The jury acquitted Barry and CAC on all accounts, determining that the photographs were indeed art and therefore not obscene. While Mapplethorpe's personal definition of art delighted in the duality of artistic merit and obscenity, he liked to call it smut art, which I think is cool. Luckily for the defendants, U.S. law marks an absolute separation between the two. A symposium on the 25th anniversary of the conflict. So we're at year 29, held in CAC and organized by Cincinnati nonprofit Photo Focus, revealed the city and institution in some ways was still recovering from the polarities of 1990. One question was asked had Cincinnati changed in 25 years? And this is where I'd like to shift gears a little bit, because Mapplethorpe, his art focused on cultural attitudes towards homosexuality and AIDS. And it hit nerves. People don't like to think of themselves as judgy or that they have bad views towards people. Or not bad views. How would I even say it? Views that are societally looked down upon. And in the 90s, this was far more accepted. But now, we have gay marriage. We are in a different world. But people back then believed that someone who had the HIV virus was being struck down by God. People said it. They said it on TV. I remember it. And no one would say that now. Nor should they. It's horrible. But people think it. So, anxiety over the exploitation of children. So that would be the thing. Like, the homosexuality part, if this would come up again today, it wouldn't be so much about that. It'd be about if there was a minor in a photo shoot, which can happen. I know even with the best intentions, people lie about their ages, but if people intentionally use someone who's underage, there are problems. And I know from my own experiences, I've met people in different communities who were former photographers that and musicians, and they would incorporate fans into their art, and some of the art was a little bit there's some nudity or even sensuality in it, and some of the people were what I think are underage. Did they ask? They should have. Were the parents worried? They should have. I think a lot of that is we watch out for each other in society, and that's where that gray line is on one hand, I applaud artists talking about difficult ideas and concepts. I will never, ever be open to people taking advantage of minors or hurting children or innocents like animals. So this is that line that you don't cross with me. But the other stuff is open for discussion. Those things are not. So this is the only thing where I think the controversy is real to me. And he's provocative, and he is still talked about to this day. But the thing that made me look at him today was I saw some different posts, and they talk about him fighting the law and Art 1,
So when we looked at that picture, let's see, which one was it? This one? No, this one. So if you give the artist freedom of expression, soon every American will want it. Yes, we should keep our freedoms. We should work hard to have them. Even if you disagree or you don't like his art, who cares? Cities, art changes over time. The thing that will shock us will be totally different tomorrow. And I fight for that. I fight for it every day. Now, I come back. See if I can fix this a little. There we go. The thing that someone had shared with me, though, there's an article in The Guardian about a generation of artists were wiped out by AIDS and we barely talk about it, by Suzanne Moore. And there's a new film about Robert Mapplethorpe called Look at the Pictures. And this is just coming out. And it's a new documentary. You may know some of the pictures already. They had the cover of Horses with Patti Smith, and much of the statement as her music. His celebrity pictures, you'll see them everywhere. Just Google it. There's so many, like Debbie Harry from Blondie, and Bianca whispering in Mick Jagger's ears. One I saw today, Grace Jones, she was in this kind of tribal, like, I don't know if it's paint or tape, and then she had like spiral boobs, you know. It was kind of exciting and interesting. But there's so much. And they talk about the S&M stuff, and everybody thinks about that. But he's so famous. And yet, we have all of these great celebrities of the time. In the 80s, so many people got AIDS and died from it. And I think back to knowing that I knew, like, I grew up in Iowa, okay? And one of my favorite people when I was really young was the first gay man that I knew. You know, I've never been one that's like, I don't know what's going on. I always know. Like, I have like a sense for those kind of things. And he was just like amazing with my hair. He did beautiful haircuts and he'd try things, and I just loved him. And my mom told me that he had moved there. Like, his family originally is from there. He had lived in New York and he came back, and then he was gone. Like, we used to go to him all the time, and he had died of AIDS. He had gotten AIDS, and you know, it's almost like people, when they got AIDS back then, they went into hiding. You never saw them again. And I always felt like wish I could have talked to him, like gone back in time as an adult and understood what he was going through. And it must have been so scary and lonely. And back then it was always about, like, oh, it's just gay people get it. But nowadays, that's not true. I mean, you think of all the great people we've lost, like Freddie Mercury, Keith Haring, Eazy-E from NWA, let's see, Rock Hudson, Denholm Elliott, Bela Kuti, and there's so many people, friends, family, and a lot of them were under the age of 30. Some of our greatest artists of our generation died because of this plague. And when you try to explain it to people, it's no longer a death sentence. They've found ways of extending life. In South Africa, 19% of the people have HIV. Think about that. Like, almost 20% of the people that you know have the AIDS virus. Russia is only starting to admit the scale of its problem, with an estimate of 1.5 million people with HIV. So, and the thing is, they always used to say, it's just gay people, drug users. But now, it's not spoken about. You have people that are pregnant and having children that are born with HIV. You have so many, like, people just have sex with someone and they get HIV. So this is not something that it's a morality thing anymore. It's so huge, and we've lost so many. And, you know, if we had taken it differently. Maybe we would have started to come up with cures and ways to extend life way earlier. But because it was gay people, it was like, we don't need to take care of it. It'll take care of itself. That's not how disease works. It's so crazy. So they talk a little bit about Jesse Helms, and lots of Republicans are wanting to punish homosexuality. The Reagans banned needle exchanges, which could have saved lives. The Catholic Church banned condoms. It's like he felt like he was torn away from his Catholic upbringing because they didn't accept him. And you think about how many lives could be saved by acceptance and love for our fellow humans. So you may not like his art, but he is a human being. He was a human being. And I just think when you look at this photo of him, I'm going to bring that up. Let's see. Turn me off. This is a self-portrait of him in 1988, and he was dying of AIDS. You saw the pictures before. He was young and vibrant, and he's holding the walking stick with the skull on it, and he is death. And it's everyone that they knew back then. Whole groups of people would lose their friends. He would have been 73. And they have antiretrovirals now. And people think it's gone away. It's still there. AIDS still exists. It hasn't been cured yet. And it's killing people all over the world. So, this living death mask of Mapplethorpe is more disturbing to me than any of those other pictures that people still want to censor to this day. The fact that we can let a human being fade away with such talent, and because people didn't like what he took pictures of or what he represented. And we should never forget, this battle is not won. And I think that it's really important that we continue to talk about it. And I think he's an amazing artist. Some of the things I disagree with myself, I know some of you will feel like there's some terrifying aspects to everything that he does. But I've always believed that this is one of the things that will destroy us all, is that we have no empathy for each other. We need to focus on helping people when they're sick, helping the people that are needing our help, and instead of turning our backs on people. So I don't have much more to say about it than that, but this is part of why I'm against censorship, and we need to keep our minds open and remember the history and where we came from so we can learn from it and not repeat it. So I'm almost out of time. Oh my God, that went so fast. So Rotten Cat got out of jail and he's sitting by me. He's been very good now, so I'm going to go give him some love. But I'm going to try to work on getting this posted to TalkShoe and come up with some good stuff for next week. Remember, it's Cyber Monday today, so get your cheapo shopping done. And I will see you next Monday on Liberty Librarian. Have a great week. Bye, guys.